Hello, welcome back to another video. This one, I'm going to break the news now. We get it fired up. But before we get into that, they say you need three things to make an engine run, which is spark, fuel, and air. And guess what? I only had one of those things. That's why it wouldn't run in the last video. I only had air. That's why it didn't go. Now, I'm not the best, mechanic. I just do what I can and figure out the rest as I go along. So watch the video when find the mistakes that were made and enjoy it when it finally fires up, because it was loud. Here we go. Okay, so last video I got this thing to turn over. So first thing I'm going to try now is see if it's got any spark. If it's got no spark, we need to chase that down. If it's got spark, it's something to do with the wires that I haven't fully connected yet. So that's where I'm starting. Let me set the camera up and see if there's any spark. Okay, it's focused on a spark plug there. Let's see when I turn it over if anything happens. I'm pretty sure I could actually see the spark plug from the key position, and pretty sure I didn't see anything, but I'm going to go back over the footage and just have a look-see anyway. So I have reviewed said footage, and no, I do not have spark. So let's find out why there's no spark. Start with the coil, I guess. Let me dig around and I'll get back to you when I have some answers. Well, here we are again, guys. It's a shocking day outside. It's about 5 days later since I discovered I have no spark, and I still haven't got anywhere. I've tried lots and lots of different things, but pretty much what's happening is got power to the coil, but then when I start cranking, I got nothing. Got no power, nothing whatsoever. So, still trying to figure out what's meant to be going on with that. I'm pretty sure you're meant to have power to the coil when you're cranking. So somewhere in my wiring, I do not have 12 volts to the system when that's happening. I think I figured out where everything on those wires go except for the fuel pump. Fuel pump in the original wiring does work. I don't know whether the new one needs to be hooked up or not, but I found the wiring down the car. Once it goes under the dash, I lose it. I can't find it. So still figuring that one out, but everything else has power except when cranking, which means no spark. So I'm gonna fiddle and fart around and try a few more things, and hopefully I can get some electricity. Well, progress has been made. Check out this. It's a goer. It's a bloody goer. Let me explain a few things to you if you just hold that thought for 1 second. So I have spark, it now fires. Only running off, just spraying something down the intake at the moment because fuel pump's not connected. Now, in the previous video, I did mention that, yes, the fuel pump was priming, but that's priming on the old VK system over there, which is obviously not linked through this. So I don't think the computer's thinking that it's getting fuel, so it's not wanting to fire it that way. Obviously, I can't run it too long because I've got no water pump, no cooling, anything like that. But the issue why I didn't have spark is this pink wire here. This has to go to ignition. Now, I had it in this pigtail of wiring on ignition, but what was happening was when I was putting it actually to crank, where I had it had no power. And that's why I had no spark. I haven't found the proper wire where it's meant to go, for final destination. So I've just stuck it in a live all the time. So obviously I don't want that because we don't want the coil live all the time. But for testing purposes, that's where I had it. And I know the tacho wire's right because the tacho's working. Not sure about the oil temperature. Obviously, it hasn't ran long enough. In the alternator light, it's only running for like 3-4 seconds, and then it's out of juice. So, next thing to do is find out where the hell do I connect this purple wire in, which is fuel pump. Now, I've traced it from the back of the car all the way into here, and the purple wire there is fuel pump. But once it goes in here and it goes under the dash, I lose it. So I'm going to be tracing down that son bitch, and then we'll see if we can get it to run for maybe 10-20 seconds. But we also do need to find the proper wire for that, because I think if I get it fired with that on a constant earth, I won't be able to shut it off unless I disconnect the battery, or yank that wire, which is probably the easiest thing. But it's a bloody runner. Hasn't got an exhaust, but it's a bloody runner. How exciting is this? All right, I'm back out here again, and mistakes have been made. I don't know what I'm doing, but I found out why it will not run off the fuel pump. I had the lines on backwards. I had the in on the return and the return on the in, so it wasn't building up any fuel pressure, or it was trying to force it through backwards. So, having that being said, it should fire up on petrol on the key. Let's see how that goes. I'll set you up and check this out. Now, bear in mind, I still haven't found the proper ignition wire, so in order to kill the power, I'm gonna have to yank the wire out. Well, I'm pretty sure that's what's gonna need to be done, so let's see how that goes. Oh, you can't really tell, but it's fuming in here. I wonder how that sounded on camera, because it's bloody loud in here. Bloody loud. But we have a running conversion. Who effing Ray? Look at that. I even blew the plastic off the back of the car, and there's no exhaust back there. I think we're exiting out here, out of the cat somewhere. Anyways, I've got a bit more wiring tidying up to do. Now, instead of having 2 battery sources, I'm going to make a loom that goes from here to power on earth, which will power this side of the car. So fuel pump wise, I just ran a wire from the fuel pump wire to the fuel pump on the fuse box, so we'll sort that out as well. Other than that, we're going to run a motor. How freaking good is that? Alrighty, so what I'm up to now is I've remade that loom that I had from that wiring connector that went to the jump pack here. So basically what it is, it's all earths and positives. So I've made that into a loom that goes up around there. It's going to follow the wiring loom around here to the battery, connected to the battery. Of course, all the cable ties I've got aren't long enough to wrap around it, so I need to get some cable ties that'll fit that to tidy it up, but that's not the problem at the moment. So I think the next thing to do is test it out and see if it fires up again. Let's do that. All right, here we go. Alright, so I think what happened there was I think it flooded and didn't want to start, so foot to the boards and bango, it lit up. So that issue's sorted now. Well, here we are again. This is probably the 3rd ending that I've shot for this because nothing seems to be going right how I want it to. If you look at, this is the instructions that come with this kit, and you're better off just doing that because nothing in it makes sense. Nothing is what it's meant to be. They're so vague that an idiot like me can't follow it. I can't believe that they're so bad to follow. But anyway, I believe that they're really for someone who's done the conversion before and has some idea what they're doing, whereas someone like me who has never done anything like this before, they're the worst things you can ever do, and it's just fiddling, farting around until you find out something that works. So yes, I had the car running, you've seen that go, but I couldn't get the car to turn off by the key. Didn't matter what I tried, it would not turn off by key. It was just a process of elimination, sitting there looking for 5 hours at diagrams and testing wires and whatever. I could not come up with
a wire in the car that had ignition and power on crank. There was nothing until I decided to grab the old harness and whack it back into the thing, and that's when things started to come alive. That's when I got all the ignition power and then power on crank and everything. Now, in the start, that was the main problem why I had no spark is because I had no power on crank, and the crank wire that I had on was in the totally wrong spot, so that had to be rerouted again to the other side of the car in that new loom I made. I got rid of that because I didn't believe that I needed it. Then I had to put it back in, and it's all together now. So unless you're experienced and done this more than once, those instructions are going to help you 0%. The car now will crank and turn off by key, as I will present to you right now. And off with key. So that's all working good now. I did have the fuel gauge working last night. Now I can't get it working again. Still fiddling around with some wires. I still have to rerun some wires because half of the ones that I had originally weren't meant to be there, so I've had to reroute them. So I'm going to have to run a new wiring loom from this side back round to the other side of the car for the power on crank, the start, and one for the fuel pump. Just playing around then with this contraption. I just plugged that in with the other harness, the original harness plugged in, and turned the speedo drive, and what do you know? The speedo works. I was turning it at about between 20 and 30 kilometers an hour and did 400 meters added to the odometer, but hopefully that part of the kit in there can sort out that. I don't know, but yeah, if you get this kit and you get this 1, 2, 3 page instructions, the only thing that helps you is find out what you want to go to those wires, and then there's nothing else. There's nowhere in here stating that you need to use parts of both old harnesses. Nothing. You have to work all that out for yourself. So if you're planning on contemplating this conversion, don't throw away your old looms, because you will need them, and a fair bit of them too. So now that that's running, I've still got a few wiring I want to tie up. I want to tidy up the wiring before it's time to pull it out, because when it goes back in for the last time, I want it to be just plug, 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 done. Not where does this go, where does that go, what am I doing, blah, blah, blah. So that's what I'm going to do next. Still can't get any dash lights working. I like the handbrake, battery, the alternator light, anything like that. Nothing of that works. The only thing that's working is the brake fail light, which is a bonus because that wasn't working the other day. So that's working, but I'll still continue to work on those. Other than that, I'll end this video here with a starting, running, and stopping conversion. I'd like to thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Ciao, ciao.